I'm calling from the Trib. I'd like to confirm.
Hey, I've been getting the runaround for 2 hours, and I'm coming.
Can you tell me approximately how... Morning, Rossi. How you doing?
Okay. You know, I was kind of surprised to see Billy's story on page 1. You know, the thing about the Koreans in L.A.
Why surprised?
Well, just wasn't up to her usual standard. It's kind of unfair to her, you know. Put it on page 1.
I appreciate the way you and Billy look out for one another. She said the same thing about your story.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in her case, it's jealousy.
This is the man you got to look out for. This is Lou Grant, our city editor. Andrew Tyler.
Hello.
How are you?
Andrew's our new intern. He's going to be stuck with us for about 3 months.
I don't feel stuck. I'm looking forward to it.
Where'd you go to school?
USC. I'm a junior in journalism.
Well, I'm glad you're interested in newspapers. So many young people in journalism, all they want is TV.
That's sort of where I'm headed.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you doing here?
Well, I was told that this was the best training ground if you wanted to go into television news.
Oh. Not bad if you want to work on newspapers either.
I've got some news you won't find in that edition.
Oh, really? Am I supposed to guess what it is?
We may be losing an editor.
Which one?
Well, I'll give you a hint. He's got a nice sense of humor, a sharp blue pencil, and he was born wearing a vest.
Donovan?
He got offered a really good job.
Modeling clothes in a department store window?
Sacramento. Press secretary to the governor.
We're going to do a follow-up on the maternity care story. Get a statement from the hospital.
Okay.
Some guy's trying to climb the Bancroft building.
What do you mean, on the outside?
How high is that, 60 stories? He must be crazy.
Maybe he's afraid of elevators.
The fire department's trying to haul him down.
Get somebody over there.
Weber? Weber!
Oh. Yeah. Consider me Weber.
What's up, Driscoll? What are you doing here?
It's my day off, but I'm covering for Weber. He and his old lady are breaking up today. They're dividing the furniture and the dishes. What do you need?
Well, some character mistook the Bancroft building for Mount Fuji. Can you get over there?
On my way.
What'd I do?
This expense voucher. I hate to be a tough guy, Joe, but I'm not going to pay for your class reunion.
Class reunion?
That's right. Who are you kidding?
That's a bar in El Segundo where I took a source.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'll bring him along. We'll be right up. Bar.
It's a bar. Too bad about Donovan, huh?
What about him?
I mean, about his going to Sacramento to work for the governor.
Why am I always the last to hear about these things?
Hi, Dolores. Billy Newman. Just making my monthly call to request an interview with Mr. Cavaretta. That's right, I don't give up. Oh, come on, Dolores. We'd really like to hear his side of the story. Isn't he a little bugged with all this bad press, the FBI saying all those nasty things? No, I just want to ask him what he's doing in California. I'm not going to do a job on him. Well, be a pal and tell him I called, okay? You got my numbers? Thanks, Dolores. Talk to you next month.
You know, you get a lot more out of those people if you weren't so sweet. You gotta take a hard line.
The Joe Rossi School of Diplomacy?
Hey, it gets results.
If being obnoxious is just a tactic, how come you never turn it off?
I'm waiting for the right moment.
He won't go. Why would Donovan want to leave the Trib?
Sounds like a good job, if you like politics.
They'll kick his teeth in.
If he takes the job. Try to be nice to him. Maybe he'll stay.
What, am I not nice? I'm always nice.
Now, gentlemen, at today's luncheon meeting, I hope we can look forward to something a little bit different.
Me too. I'm sure tired of meatloaf.
How many are coming?
There'll be 6 of us, 3 editors and 3 reporters.
Good. Now, please, let's try to stay on the subject. Last month, we got off on fly casting and electric cars and the Rams. No more talk about the Rams and their tight ends.
Quite right.
Oh, and one more thing. We will have some tourists in the building today.
Don't we always?
A group of prominent businessmen from Sweden with a guide from the State Department. Now, if they happen to pop into the newsroom, please don't growl at them. I may be visiting Scandinavia next summer. Yes. All right. Mr. Grant, that was Mr. Donovan. He says you'd better get down to the newsroom right away.
Oh, boy.
446 and 411 proceed to Rodriguez area. Divert traffic moving north on Worcester Boulevard. Assist fire and rescue units
going
moving
on?
towards
A
emergency
tunnel collapsed
area.
near Chatsworth. Some construction in the foothills.
Anybody hurt?
Well, there's some men trapped inside, but we don't know how many.
Did they say Rodriguez area?
Yeah. Worcester Boulevard. Going into the foothills.
Must be around here.
Right.
Mr. Donovan.
What?
I've got a line to the sheriff's office in Chatsworth. I figured the whole city would be trying to call them.
Grab that, will you, Rossi? See what you can get. Not bad, Andrew.
You want me out there, Art? I'm free.
I may need you and Rossi here. I'm going to send a couple of science writers. What do we got in the building?
There are men trapped inside. How many, officer? Well, is it like 2 men or 20? You don't know.
Hey, Sweeney, Castillo. At least they'll understand the technical side. It might have been one of those methane explosions.
What about us?
You're staying.
What is it, Art?
There's been a tunnel collapse in the Rodriguez foothills.
That's too bad.
It's not your fault. I'm sending you both out there. Take the animal.
What's all the excitement?
We'll cave in on some workers in Chatsworth. It could be bad. I'm sending Sweeney and Castillo with animal. You guys better get going.
Hold it. Why are you doing that?
Because this is their department. Sweeney's got the geology and physics, and Castillo's heavy on the environment.
Send one, keep the other.
Why?
Because we need somebody here to translate all that technical mumbo-jumbo as it comes in.
Fine, Castillo, you're staying.
And one photographer's not enough. Better send 2.
Okay, 2 button pushers. Animal, take Billings.
Sure. And better send another reporter. A good one.
How about Rossi?
Make it Billy.
Why didn't I think of that?
We'll put Rossi on rewrite.
Come on, Animal.
Lou? If I'm doing the main story, I'll need someone to make calls for me.
You get all the help you need.
We can give him Ryerson and Andrew. Ryerson be all right?
Fine, fine. Something wrong with you?
What could be wrong?
Tell Leon to bring Rossi all the wire stuff on this story. Ryerson, call the county fire and rescue. Get what you can and stay on it. They'll be at the center of this. Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Call the California Transportation Office. Find out what they know and get the name of the private firm that's building the tunnel. Feed everything you get to Rossi.
I'm going to send for an artist. We may want to run a map of this place.
Good idea.
I mean, I did something right? I don't believe it.
I don't believe you. Ask a copy boy to bring a TV up here. I want to see what they're doing with this.
Here's some background to get us started.
Good.
Lou, can I show you something?
What do you got?
Try to take it easy on Donovan, okay? Because if you don't, we're going to lose him for sure.
Charlie, I won't bed myself out of shape because he had a job offer. No special treatment. That's not in my deal.
Thanks, Lou. I knew you'd understand.
How far is it?
About 45 miles.
I'll get you there in 20 minutes.
Animal, we're supposed to report the news, not make it. Oh, do get that. Take a message and tell him I'm gone.
Billy Newman's office. No, she's not here right now. Can I take a message? I see. Well, it'll be a while. She's on a breaking story. I'm sure it is, but there's just no way to reach her. Look. I'm telling you. This is a major metropolitan newspaper. There are a lot more important things than the petty concerns of Vito Calaretta.
Cabaretta. Dolores, I can't believe it. When? Oh, this afternoon would be the worst possible time. I've got to go out to the Rodriguez area. But if this turns out to be nothing, I'll swing by in a couple of hours, okay? Thanks. And if this doesn't work out today, give me another chance. Great timing, huh? Let's go.
Redaktören för de lokala nyheterna och hans assistent. De är ansvariga för alla journalister och alla redaktörer.
Hi, fellas.
Pardon me, sir, but are you the assistant city editor?
No. I'm the city editor. He's the assistant.
I beg your pardon.
Hey, it's a natural mistake. He dresses better.
Can you tell us what you do?
Well, I decide what stories the paper will go after. I give the reporters their assignments, and I check the copy when it comes in. From there, the pages will go to the copy desk, where they'll be checked for errors, spelling, libelous statements, and the stories are given their headlines.
De läser alla artiklar innan de trycks. Thank you. Det här är som det ser mycket stort.
City desk, Donovan. Yeah, Driscoll, what's going on? You're not climbing up the building after the guy, are you? Well, how high is he? About a third of the way, huh? Well, give it another hour. We're going for a 1 p.m. deadline.
The rescuers are now approaching the mouth of the tunnel, getting ready to burrow in after the trapped workers. As we understand it, the only possible chance for the survivors is that they somehow wound up in an underground pocket that did not collapse. That way they can remain alive so long as the air holds out.
TV's covering this cave in like a blanket. Why don't we just go home?
Because we're going to tell the public something they can't get on the tube. Not just what happened out there today, but why. Who screwed up and what's his excuse. Isn't that what you were planning on doing?
Yeah.
City Des, Donovan. No, I can't talk right now, okay? Well, I'm still thinking about it. They want to know by tomorrow. Okay, so long.
City desk.
Hello, Lou.
Billy.
Is Rossi on?
We're all hooked into the same circuit, Billy. Go ahead.
There are at least 7 men trapped inside. I don't have names yet. And there's something else I heard. For some unexplained reason, there are kids inside.
Kids? How old are they? How'd they get in there?
I don't know, but they're in there. Young people, students. Rossi?
Go ahead.
Lou Grant will continue in a moment here on A&E.
I'm going to put you on hold for a second.
Right.
Say, Rossi, I got the contractor on the phone, but I think I'm talking to their PR guy.
Wait, what's he say?
Well, he says that the Fitzwilliams Construction Company is not alarmed and is confident that the rescuers will be successful.
When do they think they'll reach the workers?
He doesn't know. Rossi, he's giving me nothing.
Okay, let's shake him up a little. Ask him why the construction company allowed students to get in there in the first place. And if he says he doesn't know, ask him why he doesn't know.
All right.
Who did these drawings of the cave-in? They're pretty good.
McDougal did them.
Not today, Dreyfus.
I can't deny that I'm angry with you and the Tribune, Mr. Grant, and I came close to taking my story to the Times.
It's a bad day today, Mr. Dreyfus.
I actually decided to cut out the entire news media from any more press releases, but there's just too much at stake.
If you won't go, we at least make it quick.
Certainly. A spaceship carrying the peace mission from the planet Andromeda will arrive on the last day of this month at 04:30 Greenwich time at Burbank Airport. The President of the United States, Mrs. Carter, and City Councilman Garbers will head the welcoming committee. A reception will be hosted by Henry Dreyfus at the airport's commuter bar. Do you have that? Any questions?
Yeah, how do you get in the building?
How does anybody get in the building?
I think he beams himself in.
Tim. Lou Grant. Henry Dreyfus was in a building again. I do say. You always let in the wrong people. Guys selling lobsters out of suitcases, nuts hollering doomsday, and you keep out the people who have legitimate appointments. You stopped Henry Kissinger. Well, be more careful, will you? Next time Dreyfus shows up at my desk, I'll try to hold on to him, and you call Tim up here. I've got to find out how he gets in the building.
How do you like the story?
I'm reading it now.
You know, this kid who's climbing the building is no fool. He's been planning this thing for over a year. I talked to his kid brother and his girlfriend. They're quiet, sensible people. You know, he made his equipment to fit the facade of the building he picked today because the weather was exactly right. You know, I dictated that whole piece off the cuff. It's been a long time since I did that.
I wish you hadn't. I'm not crazy about your angle.
What's wrong with it?
I'm afraid you may be glamorizing the guy. Maybe a publicity-happy nut.
Oh, no. That isn't what I got from his brother. I see a cool, thoughtful kid who was challenged by the building, and he just climbs it for his own satisfaction.
He may be coolly and thoughtfully trying to turn himself into a hero. You don't know what he's like until we talk to him.
I think you're dead wrong, Art. After all, I was the guy who was out there.
Okay, Driscoll, we've got your facts. Moyers?
What can I do for you?
Turn this story around and tighten it, and don't make the human fly such a sweetheart.
Why don't you just tell her that this time you want it written in English?
My reporter's instincts tell me I'm stepping in the middle of something.
Don't worry about it.
Do you want me to go back to Bancroft?
No, I already sent somebody else.
Why'd you cut him down? He was enthusiastic about the story, and I thought he had a valid angle. How often does he get a chance to do anything except phone in facts from the cop house?
About as often as I get to make a decision around here without being second-guessed.
Then you ought to understand. He was dying to write it, and you chopped his legs off.
Hey, that's how I saw it.
I think you guys are handling yourselves exceptionally well. It's great for the paper's morale to see the city editors fighting. Only you're going to have to talk louder. I can barely hear you in my office.
Want to get in the pool?
Cost you $1.
No, you guys aren't betting on that, are you?
Yeah, time of arrival within 15 minutes.
It's grisly to even think of something like that.
Why?
Betting on the time they reach the tunnel workers?
No, the time the human fly reaches the roof. Who would ever think of betting on the workers? That's sick.
I think I'll pass.
Let me see what times are left.
Okay.
You okay?
Oh, yeah, sure. What can I do for you?
You ever cover cave-in stories like this one?
Yeah, I did Kathy Fiscus, a little girl who got stuck in the well.
Was you on the Floyd Collins cave-in?
That was in 1925.
Just kidding.
Now, the closest thing to this was the Seneca Springs, a gas explosion. Took 16 lives. I was there when they brought the bodies out. It's the kind of story you don't forget.
Sound like a good sidebar.
Yeah. You want me to feed it to Rossi or Myers?
No. I want you to do it.
It's Billy again.
Yeah, Billy, how's it going?
I got a line on the students.
Good.
I poked around and I found a van with a UCLA sticker on it. Inside, I found tools, boots, helmets, and textbooks. They're archaeology students.
College kids.
Yeah, they must have been exploring the tunnel when the roof fell in.
How many?
I don't know, but I've got a couple of names. Here's the van registration. Arnold Baker, 211 Hamilton Road, Westwood. And I found a girl's name inside one of the textbooks. Helene with an E on the end, Miller.
Get a line on these kids and send someone out there to interview the families. Make sure they've been notified.
The scene looks like an Appalachian coal mine disaster, except the foliage is chaparral, and there's a guy moving through the crowd selling tacos and burritos.
They know what caused the cave-in?
They think a gas explosion.
Was that a surprise? Did they have any warning?
I don't know. I've heard some angry rumbles about negligence, but up to now, nothing specific.
I'd follow up on that. Okay, give it all to Rossi.
Yes. Yes, Mrs. Pinchon. Well, I forgot. We're really snowed under today. I suggest we cancel lunch. Well, that is also a good suggestion.
All right. I am resigned to the fact that you're always going to ask for more and more money. But is there no way we can be more efficient?
Automation?
Well, we're doing that gradually.
We could unload some dead wood.
Uh-oh. I didn't realize this was going to be a testimonial luncheon to me.
Obviously, I don't mean Mr. Driscoll. He is an invaluable police reporter, and the Trib would be hurt without him.
And vice versa.
However, we do seem to have a policy of never firing anybody.
Oh, I know. I find it difficult to discharge people my husband liked.
Well, in the past, the Trib may not have been careful enough about who it hired, but now we're just too cautious about who we fire.
Makes sense to me.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Grant, it's for you, Billy Newman. Now, why don't you take it on the other phone?
Yeah, Billy, go ahead.
Lou, I already gave this to Rossi, but I think you should know. There are definitely people alive inside the tunnel.
Workers are still alive. Go ahead, Billy.
They're getting answering tabs from inside the cave. The rescue workers are digging furiously now, but there's danger of another collapse. More air hoses are being shoved inside.
How many people are still alive?
Nobody knows, but the tapping has really fired up the diggers. They're working like crazy now.
Have you any idea when the rescue team will reach the trapped men?
Nobody has that answer.
What about the negligence act?
Well, I've been questioning the secretary of the labor union here. His name is Frank Magliacci. He's right here with me. Mr. Magliacci, this is my city editor, Lou Grant. Why don't you tell him what you told me?
Well, there is no question there were safety violations here. Maybe 8 or 10. Gross negligence. And when this all comes out, people are going to jail, believe me.
What violations, Mr. Magliacci? Can you be more specific?
There are safety engineers here right now sniffing around and asking questions, and we can tell them plenty.
Can I have their names, please?
There's going to be a major investigation. You can put it in your paper. You can print it.
What were the violations?
They can't get away with this. Heads are going to roll. You got that, Mr. Grant?
What do you think went wrong?
They are not getting away with a 2-bit fine this time. If any of our boys are hurt or die, they'll be held to pay. You got that, Mr. Grant?
I hear you, Mr. Magliacci.
Lou Grant will continue in a moment here on A&E.
Now, Roxanne, show the contestants what they'll win if they choose the right curtain. His and her mopeds for fun on the open road.
You want to knock off that TV?
Roxanne.
You just knocked off the future Mrs. Donovan. I was looking for a girl with mopeds like that.
The TV won't cut back to the cave-in for an hour.
The worst one of these was near Seneca Springs, San Diego County. They were down about 200 feet. They had one of these drilling machines burrowing away. It set off sparks, hit a gas pocket, clam. The whole tunnel became a fireball. They lost 16 men on that one.
Could it have been avoided?
I guess so, because the company was fined $10,000. Nobody went to jail, though.
Sounds like somebody had the right lawyer.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Really jumps off the page at you, doesn't it?
If it were physically possible, he'd hoist himself on his own shoulders and carry himself around the city room.
I'm just telling you how it hits me. Even if it is my story, I'm moved by it. It's powerful, but restrained.
Hold it. Hold it. Where'd you get this quote?
Which one?
This one, from Magliacci, the union leader.
On the wire, why?
Well, why don't you use the quote I got from him? It was a lot stronger. Magliacci said, the cutbacks cut the workers' throats. The company put time ahead of safety, money ahead of lives.
Too inflammatory. He was frothing at the mouth.
He was not. He was mad, but he sounded sane enough. Why don't you use what I give you?
Look, I choose the material I feel is best. If I don't like your purple quotes, they're out.
Purple quotes?
Look, this story is grim enough without giving it the needle.
I'm giving you direct quotes. I'm not exaggerating.
Look, it's my name that goes on that story.
You should. You're writing fiction.
What?
Okay, that's enough. No more of this. Rossi, go back to your desk. Go. Sit.
Oh, I love working with that guy. He's so stimulating.
Listen, did you ever find out what those archaeology students were doing in there?
Oh, yeah, they were looking for Indian relics and artifacts. That idiot. There's a lot of that stuff around Chatsworth. They tried to get an injunction from court to stop the tunnel and lost. Fitzwilliams and company let him inside when they started to picket. Rusty has it that they'll use it.
Okay. I'd like you to go out and talk to the family of one of those kids.
Oh, why do I always get the grave-digging jobs? It's woman's work, right? You send me because I've got the soft touch. Is that it?
No. It's because I have no one else.
Oh. Well, when you put it like that.
There's the address. Take a photographer.
Oh, thanks, Art.
Mm-hmm.
Who's covering the zoning commission meeting?
McKendrick.
Very good choice.
Oh, it's nice to hear.
That's going to be a story for us. I'm betting that the developers and the commission are going to make a deal.
Oh, McKendrick should be calling it in soon.
It's a nice tie. You know, Art, you were really right about the Chinese story.
What are you talking about, Charlie?
You never should have let us talk you out of that series on Chinatown. It would have fit in very nicely with all the interest in China. For example, how do Chinese Americans feel about the new relationship with Peking?
I think I was the one that didn't like that story.
Uh-huh. Probably wasn't worth the whole series. You're right.
Donovan.
Just a second, Lou. Interesting thing about a paper like ours. Everybody gets a chance to be heard. You get the feeling that there aren't any bosses, just colleagues.
Hey, Donovan, would you get this phone?
Excuse me, Charlie. My colleague is calling.
There's some pictures from Chatsworth, Lou. I got a bunch more in the lab.
Look at those faces. You can see they got family inside.
Lots of anxious people out there.
I'm sending you back. Get what you can. I'll see you before deadline.
Okay, Lou.
Got another call from the Bancroft building. Cops want to arrest the human fly, but the crowds in the street are cheering him on.
Shouldn't he be on top by now? What's taking him so long?
Maybe he didn't realize how upset you'd be if he didn't make it by deadline.
City desk. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, better stay home. We'll cover for you. Mm-hmm.
What now?
Van Dragen, the weather guy, he's got the flu. Why do people insist on telling you their temperature and how many times they threw up?
I'll have to get somebody else to write the weather.
Who isn't busy? Anybody? You're running out of troops.
Don't they have ways of detecting gas in these excavating jobs?
They used to use canaries, but the birds are asking too much money now.
Well, they had detecting devices. Methane gas is odorless and colorless, but there was no indication of gas before the accident. There might have been no explosion at all. There was no evidence of fire or smoke.
Then what caused the collapse?
We don't know yet.
Can we get started? Where's Charlie?
He was talking to a good-looking redhead when I walked by his office 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, she works in composing.
Is she a natural redhead?
It's interesting, you know. Statistics show that men gossip more than women.
Where'd you hear that?
At the beauty parlor.
Kill, Charlie, kill. I wish I had his style.
Does she know that he's got 2 kids and a Cocker Spaniel?
I'm sorry I'm late.
Sure, Charlie, we understand.
It should happen to us.
Okay, let's get started. Lou, what have you got?
I think you'd relieve an enormous amount of tension at this table if you'd explain what's going on with that lady in composing.
Nothing is going on. It's a payroll problem.
Pay her whatever she wants.
What do you got, Lou?
At City Hall today, we got the door slammed in our face. The zoning commission met with developers in secret session and shut out the press.
So what do we got?
We got zip.
Whatever happened to the public's right to know if a deal's being made?
They're going to be sorry they pulled this. Under the headline, Zoning Commission holds secret session. I want 3 inches of white space.
What do you mean?
Just the headline and then white space.
No copy?
No copy. We'll show our readers just what we got from that meeting. Nothing.
Det kommer att vara en tom kulör.
So what have you got in the big one?
Well, they haven't reached the trapped men yet. Hopefully that'll happen later today. The union leader, Maliachi, is screaming negligence. He says that bonus payments were promised for early completion.
If you can substantiate that, we'll run it.
Animal took some good pictures.
Now, listen, if they don't reach those trapped men before deadline, you better hold on to everybody.
Right.
The cave-in story needs a paper. Use the best of the sidebars outside and the rest on pages 2 and 3.
What about Brian Cooper? Who? The human fly.
Yeah, he can lead the second section. If we make too much of a hero out of Brian, there'll be a 12-year-old kid hanging from every high-rise in the city. Okay, National.
Hello, Burroughs, Rossi. Oh, I'm trying to find Burroughs. No, he's not our usual cop house guy. Look, this is Joe Rossi from the Tribune. Burroughs works for the Tribune. He should be around there someplace, okay? Well, is he in the corridor? Look, do me a favor. Just walk down the hall to the men's room, pound on the door, and yell Tribune. Thanks, pal. I'll do the same for you someday.
Bob, it's turning colder as we await word from the men inside of the tunnel. It was warm when I first arrived this morning, but right now I wish I brought a heavy coat. Think I'd learn. Bob, that's it from the cave-in. This is Ken Bruegel in Chatsworth.
Good job, Ken. Next call.
Very thorough coverage.
That's all I can do right now.
Maybe they'll get to the in-depth at 6 o'clock.
I want to see if Ken brings his heavy overcoat.
When does Fire and Rescue say they'll reach him? It keeps getting later and later, and I'm coming up on deadline. Keep in touch.
Lou Grant will continue in a moment here on A&E.
Got something new on the human fly.
He found out he was claiming the wrong building?
The mayor has decided that Brian Cooper is the city's favorite son. Like the guy who climbed the Trade Center in New York. All the charges against him have been dropped, and the cops are now urging him on floor by floor.
There'll be a brass band waiting for him when he hits the roof.
Wouldn't be surprised.
The society can never resist a determined climber.
There's so many people on the roof now. There may be no room for Cooper.
Mr. Grant, there are a few details I'd like you to add to the Andromeda announcement. I hope you can squeeze them in before deadline.
Well, it won't be easy, Mr. Dreyfus, but we'll certainly try.
Well, after the first summit session, there'll be a dinner and dance at the Baden-Baden Hofbrau.
Just a second, Mr. Dreyfus. Let me get that down.
What are you looking for?
My favorite pencil. I can't find it.
Will this do?
Thanks. Now, that was the Baden-Baden Hofbrau. How do you spell Baden?
B-A-D-E-N.
And how do you spell the other Baden?
What's the trouble, Mr. Grant?
Tim. Huh. This is Mr. Dreyfus, the guy we were telling you about.
How do you do, Mr. Dreyfus?
How do you do?
Tim. He's the one who's always getting into the building. The guy we want you to keep out.
Why?
Because he's a nuisance. He bothers us with press releases on landings from outer space.
Extraterrestrial visitations.
Tim, can you remember that face?
Sure. I see him every day. He's Mrs. Pynchon's chauffeur.
What makes you think that?
Because he walks in behind her in a dark suit wearing a little black cap.
Mrs. Pynchon doesn't have a chauffeur.
Why not? She's rich enough.
Where'd he go?
You got me, Mr. Grant.
Go find him and escort him out, and don't let him in again, Tim.
You can count on it.
City room, Donovan. Yeah, hold on. Composing room for you.
Yeah, Bernie, what's up? Mm-hmm. That's right. 3 inches of white space. No copy. That's what he wants. Nah, people won't think you made a mistake. Just tell them it was my fault. Where's the weather copy?
Oh, yeah. Van Dragen called in sick.
Who'd you sign it to?
Nobody. I forgot.
You forgot?
That's right, I forgot. Didn't I tell you I'm human? I screwed up. We have no weather copy and the trib is folding.
Why are you making such a big deal out of this? I didn't holler at you for forgetting. I just said you forgot. I didn't say you forgot. I just said you forgot. What's wrong with that?
You're not wrong, Lou. I'm wrong.
Donovan, get me some weather copy, will you?
Boy, I'll be glad when this day is over. Andrew? In the wire room, there's a little machine that'll give you tomorrow's weather. Write it up in 25 words or less and copy today's paper for style.
Okay, Mr. Donovan.
Art.
Lou, I think you ought to hear this.
You know what time it is?
It'll just take a minute. This is Philip Stroud. He was hurt in a tunnel accident 3 days ago in Chatsworth.
One of the supports gave way. 4 of us got banged up. They should have shut the job down because it wasn't safe.
Tell him about your friend.
A couple of the guys who were hurt were well enough to go back to work. They're in there now. Listen, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't use my name unless you have to.
Give this to Rossi, and then call Fitzwilliams Construction Company and get a statement from them on this. Thank you very much, Mr. Stroud.
There's something more on Brian Cooper. Is it too late?
What is it?
The guy's hit a snag. Evidently, the outside of the Bancroft building changes at the top 8 floors, and his equipment doesn't fit.
So what's he doing?
It's making adjustments. He's got a set of tools with him, and he's hanging up there bending his gear to fit the new grooves.
He's a gutty kid. I just wish he had a better sense of timing. We may have to hold the first edition.
No. Donovan, another cave-in over there. Turn the set on.
Another cave-in?
They just announced it on TVC. They collapsed on some of the diggers.
And another collapse inside that tunnel, this time engulfing some of the rescue party. Now, this equipment apparently is not right for this terrain. We had heard that rumor earlier. Now, unfortunately, it turns out to be correct.
What are we going to do? It's after 6 o'clock.
How many men are still inside, we do not know. Let's hope just a few or none at all. But there are some. We see some of the bodies being brought out now. This is an awful setback. They are right now back to scratch.
We'll switch leads for this go-around. Sweeney should be calling in with the details. We'll do a complete write-through for the second home edition.
I have the feeling we're going to be sending out for dinner, Lou.
Maybe breakfast.
We know there are more men trapped inside. You can see one of them being carried out now. This is an awful setback.
Lou Grant will continue in a moment here on A&E.
Movie stars respond to cave-in. Film at 11. And now back to our movie.
Boy, they're not covering this story like we are. Here you go.
City desk. Yes, ma'am, I know. It wasn't a mistake. The 3 inches of white space tell you what the press got out of that meeting. Exactly nothing. We did it to make a point. Hold on, please. How many is this, 27? Switch this to Charlie Hume. It's his idea. Let him explain it.
Okay, if I had it to do over again, maybe I wouldn't. Except that now a lot of people like you are going to be talking about that secret meeting. Bye-bye.
Good evening, Mr. Hume. What are you doing in town?
Well, I might ask you the same thing, Mrs. Page.
Well, I was watching the reports of the cave-in on television. I couldn't leave the building. And I knew everybody'd be down here working on nights like this. I find it hard to go home.
We kept on most of the day staff.
I can see that.
We've been remaking page 1 for the 3rd time and wrestling with the second home edition.
Say, what about that young man climbing the building? He got bogged down, didn't he?
Yeah, he was readjusting his equipment, but when it got dark, he decided to stop there and spend the night. He spread a net between 2 windows, kind of a hammock. He was going to sleep up there.
Good heavens, maybe I won the pool. Well, $100 is $100.
What's wrong with this? It's good.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the copy. I just hate grave digging.
This isn't grave digging. Let me get all those kids out, okay?
The families aren't so sure of that. Poor people, they've got children suffocating in some dirt pile in Chatsworth, and I go knock on the door and ask them how they feel. Why is it necessary to hit people when they'd just rather be left alone?
Know something? When I read your copy, I get the feeling these people were visited by a friend. Somebody who shared their grief.
It's an experience I'd just as soon not share.
George, you didn't have to come back.
Oh, that's all right. Oh, I'm just standing by in case you want to... holding myself available. In case you want the lead story rewritten or clean out the latrine or whatever else I'm good for.
You feeling okay?
Oh, you mean if I've lost my grip on the water wagon, huh? You have a keen eye, Lou. That's why you are where you are.
And why are you where you are tonight?
I have no idea.
Let me dig you up a ride home.
Okay.
I'm heading on home. Can I give you a lift, George?
Oh, it's very kind of you. Oh, hey, thank you. Good man.
Yeah.
Don't hit anything we can't hit back.
Don't waste your pity, Billy. I'm a long way from being even with this machine.
You think the candy machines are going to be any more cooperative in Sacramento?
I don't see how they can be any worse.
Have you made a decision?
I was hoping I could use today for quiet reflection, balance the pros and cons. That didn't work out, so I figured I could use this trip to the candy machine to mull things over. See what happens?
Art, can I say something?
What?
I never give advice about marriages or career decisions. But I will give you a hug. And say that whatever you decide, I'm with you.
It's just that the Sacramento job is very attractive. On the other hand, here at the Trib,
Donovan, get your butt in here.
we've got that.
A final breakthrough is anticipated within an hour. This is Ken Brugel freezing in Chatsworth.
That'll be midnight. Great. The TV news will miss it. They'll have to put it on the morning report. Nobody watches that.
We'll have to go after the individual stories in a hurry if there are any fatalities.
Guess we'll get that assignment.
We'll send a reporter and a photographer to every family until we run out of people. Charlie, when'd you come back? Forget something?
Ran my errand, and then on my way home, I drove by here. Another sandwich here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Here.
You know, Billy, your story on the students' families is it's very nice.
It sure is.
You can get more out of that sort of interview than I can.
Thank you.
In this kind of situation, people are just not going to be as candid to a guy.
To a guy? Are you saying I did well on this story because I'm a woman?
No. No, it's because you're a smart writer.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're patient, sensitive, attractive.
In other words, my being a woman is an advantage to me as a reporter. Is that what you're saying, Rossi? It's not my skill, it's my gender.
Not exactly. Does it hurt?
Not at all. First thing I do in an interview is flash a little thigh.
You can't win.
We're so busy knocking each other. This girl uses her sex. This guy's marriage is in trouble.
It is?
This one's writing is slipping. Who's drinking? Who's cheating? Who's quitting the paper?
Who? Tell us.
Gossip, gossip, gossip. It stinks.
Very destructive.
The point is, why do we do it?
Because somebody's got to.
I was on the paper, one of those Ohio factory towns. You know, 200,000 people who work hard and love football. I wrote sports, and I kept pushing for a match between an underrated black fighter and the local White Hope, who I said had no punch. Well, they finally matched him, and the White Hope got KO'd. I went down to his dressing room after the fight, and he knocked me clear over a training table. Turned out he had a pretty good point after all.
I hope you ran a retractor.
City desk, yeah. What? They're through. The rescue team got through. They're starting to bring out people, including the dead. How many dead?
Two dead. The injured are coming out first. They're sliding them out on sleds. Rosenthal, have you got the names of the dead workers? Well, we've got to have them. Keep this line open. We're on deadline. Rossi, stay on.
Andrew, get fire and rescue. Ryerson, get all you can from police beat and feed it to Rossi. Rossi, put a new lead on your right through.
You mean a right through of my right through?
I want everyone giving whatever they get to Rossi. And fast. I want the whole story for our second home edition. All of it. And our deadline is now.
One guy is out. They're carrying him to an ambulance.
What hospital are they taking him to?
St. Catherine's. We've got a reporter and a photographer waiting for him.
Sleds are going in for the next worker. We're going to have to lock up soon.
Let's give it 5 more minutes. Rossi.
Mr. Grant?
Andrew, please call me Lou. I've been meaning to tell you this ever since you started, but I never got the chance.
How did today compare with your average day?
Typical. Nah. They're seldom this wild.
Well, it was fantastic. I mean, I just loved it. You know, if I thought working on a newspaper was this exciting, I might forget about TV.
Well, give it some thought, Andrew. Good night.
Good night, Lou. Good night, Art.
Good night, Andrew. Good night, Lou.
Wait a minute, Art. I'll walk with you. Someday, huh?
Yeah.
Look, Art, if you'd been offered a job as city editor on a good paper, I'd never stand in your way. But I think you're too good a newspaper man to end up in political PR. Maybe I'm not the easiest guy to work with all the time. But if I came in tomorrow and you weren't here, I'd feel rotten.
I know that's as close to a compliment as you'll ever get, Lou.
Okay, I'll get closer. You're a good man, Donovan. In fact, you could be city editor of this newspaper.
Really?
Well, let's say right after I leave.
Well, I appreciate your saying that, but I decided to stay 2 hours ago.
Uh-huh.
I'll see you in the morning.
Uh-huh.
Hey, who gets to sleep in?
Who's the city editor?
stakes are high, but what happens when the dividends spell death? Find out on the critically acclaimed Law and Order tonight. Now, a cop's career hangs in the balance when he thinks alcohol is the answer to his problems. On Police Story, next on A&E.